special to him. So hope we can just get joy out of this final year. And, like you said, we've known each other for forever. So hell of a player, hell of a career. I can go on and on and on, but it's awesome. I mean, he has nothing to hang his head about. He's done pretty much everything that this league had to offer, and I just hope he just takes it all in.
Chris Paul just cracked open one of the wildest contract secrets the NBA has seen in years, and right at the center of it all is LeBron James. A $60 million deal that was never meant to breathe public air is suddenly exposed, and the league is in full damage control mode. But don't get it twisted. This isn't just about cash. This is about trust, power, and the unspoken code that keeps the NBA machine running. When a floor general like CP3 lets details slip about LeBron's financial moves, it hits hard. Front offices panic, locker rooms buzz, and group chats light up overnight. So how did it spiral this fast? What did Chris Paul actually reveal? And why is the league treating this like a 5-alarm fire? Stay locked in, because this story cuts deeper than box scores. Rewind to early January 2025. The season's rolling, LeBron James is everywhere. Stats, headlines, influence. But away from the cameras, something else is cooking. No jump shots involved.
I don't give a damn what Lawrence said. I don't like what he did. I don't have much of a relationship with Lawrence Frank. I've always respected him. I remember when he was the head coach of the Nets. I remember when he was the head coach of the Detroit Pistons. I know the man knows his basketball. I always found it a bit sketchy, iffy. How does Doc Rivers bring you in as an assistant and you end up being the president of basketball operations over him before ultimately assisting and letting?
Chris Paul and LeBron go way back. Banana boat summers, all-star weekends, late-night calls about legacy and business. These aren't just rivals or teammates. That's real inner-circle trust, the kind where secrets stay buried. That's why when whispers hit mid-January that CP3 allegedly revealed details about a massive $60 million extension linked to LeBron, the league froze. This wasn't blog gossip or TV noise. This was coming from inside the Brotherhood. And if you want more stories the league doesn't want talked about, hit subscribe and stay tapped in. This wasn't coming from some random outsider. This was tied to someone close. Someone linked to the inner circle. At first, nobody bought it. Twitter was a mess. Fans kept asking the same thing on repeat. What deal? What did Chris Paul actually say? Is this even real? But then the noise got louder. Group chats started popping off. Podcasters lined up timelines. Insiders stopped laughing it off. And suddenly it clicked. This wasn't fake smoke. This thing had legs. The leak allegedly came from a private moment. Some say locker room talk that traveled too far. Others say a casual dinner with players where one sentence landed in the wrong ears. However it happened, it didn't matter anymore. The damage was already done.
James played with Chris Paul. Who don't know who Chris Paul is? So before you even get him there, because mind you, with all due respect, Chris Paul would have been sitting at home, if he didn't get picked up by the Clippers. If this was such an issue where you knew who Chris Paul was, what you could have did was, whatever the deadline is in the middle of the season, go ahead and sign him. Sign him, we'll deal with him for the rest of the time or whatever the case may be.
Now here's where it gets tricky. Was this on purpose? Did CP3 know exactly what he was doing? Or was this a rare slip? Because let's be real. Chris Paul isn't careless. He's precise, calculated, and seasoned. He knows when to talk and when to lock it up. That's why this has everyone losing their minds. A single moment of trust turned into league-wide chaos. And about the deal itself, this wasn't just any contract. What's been pieced together points to a $60 million setup tied to LeBron's future. An extension, a restructure, maybe even a quiet backdoor move the public was never supposed to see. The details are still foggy, and that's the real issue. In the NBA, contract talks are meant to stay locked tight. Fans hear about max deals once they're official, but the real talks, the numbers, incentives, quiet promises between players, agents, and executives, that stuff is supposed to stay sealed, because once it leaks, everything shifts. Players start side-eyeing their deals. Agents use it as ammo, Teams panic and adjust plans on the fly. And if there's even a whiff of tampering or cap games, the league steps in fast. That's why the NBA is heated, not just because something leaked, but because of what it exposed. LeBron James isn't just another star, he's the league's measuring stick. His contract set the baseline. When LeBron moves, the entire league feels it. So when Chris Paul allegedly revealed details of a $60 million deal that wasn't public yet, it wasn't just awkward, it pulled back the curtain on business the NBA works overtime to keep quiet. And here's where it gets messier. Was the deal already finalized, or was it still being negotiated? Because if it was still in motion, CP3 just dropped insider info every agent, team, and player would love to have. That's not just a leak. That's leverage handed out for free. Social media went crazy. Was this about recruiting, clearing cap space, making room for another star, or something bigger brewing behind the scenes? Nobody knew for sure. But everyone agreed on one thing. This was never supposed to get out. Now that it's out, the fallout is about to be huge. And that's where this gets uncomfortable. Chris Paul built his whole reputation on trust. He's the president of the National Basketball Players Association. He's the call players make when things get tricky. The veteran who knows how to move through NBA politics without blowing things up. So when word spreads that he might be the leak, that shakes the entire league. Because let's be honest, if CP3 can't keep something quiet, who can? He's been around too long not to know the stakes. He's seen players get fined, sidelined, or quietly pushed out for loose talk. He knows the rules. He knows the risk. That's why everyone's asking the same question. Why? Some say it was a slip. Maybe a private vent that wasn't as private as he thought. Maybe he trusted the wrong room. Even the sharpest vets can misjudge a moment. But others aren't buying that at all. They think this was deliberate. A message sent loud without saying it outright. Maybe aimed at LeBron. Maybe aimed at the league. Maybe meant to expose how these quiet deals really work. Social media exploded instantly. Fans split down the middle. Some defended CP3, saying transparency is overdue. Others said this crossed a line that should never be touched. Others weren't having it at all. They called it a straight betrayal. A break in the unspoken code that keeps players aligned when dealing with owners and the media. And then there's LeBron's silence. That's what's driving people crazy. No tweets. No press conference. No cryptic posts. Nothing. Just silence. So what does that mean? Is he furious? Hurt? Or is he playing chess while everyone else plays checkers? Some insiders claim LeBron is handling this privately. That conversations already happened behind closed doors with CP3. Grown man talks, no cameras involved. But others say the damage is permanent. That once trust cracks at this level, it never fully heals, because this was never just about money. It was about loyalty. And don't think it stops with them. The NBA front office is scrambling right now. Leaks like this set a dangerous tone. If players start openly talking contract details, quiet negotiations turn into public chaos. The league runs on a fragile balance. Teams negotiate. Agents move in the shadows. Media reports only what it's fed. Everyone knows certain lines don't get crossed. That's why this hits so hard. When a respected leader like Chris Paul breaks that code, even by accident, it sends shockwaves through the entire system. Players around the league are already on edge. Anonymous voices are saying things like, if my deal leaks like that, I'm done talking to anyone. Agents are warning clients to lock it down. Front offices are tightening circles, cutting access, and making sure no one else lets anything slip. And the league? They're watching closely. The NBA is reportedly asking real questions. Was this tampering? A conduct issue? Could Chris Paul face a fine or worse? Nothing's confirmed yet, but the fact these talks are happening tells you how serious this is. Here's the real twist. This goes way beyond LeBron and CP3. This hits every player in the league. From now on, every negotiation comes with paranoia. What if someone talks? What if a private deal goes public too soon? That fear changes everything. Locker rooms feel less safe. Conversations get shorter. Even close relationships start feeling risky. And that's the exact nightmare the NBA wants to avoid. So where does this leave Chris Paul? If the leak traces back to him, there's no clean exit. A fine, a formal probe, or a lasting mark on his legacy. Something sticks. But here's the power move. CP3 isn't just any player. He's the president of the National Basketball Players Association. He has deep ties with owners, executives, and media power players. That's what makes this situation so volatile. When someone with this much influence shakes the system, the whole league feels it. If he wanted to, Chris Paul could flip this whole thing. He could sell it as pushing for transparency. Say players deserve to know the real numbers. Would it work? Maybe, but that's a dangerous gamble. Then there's LeBron. His next move decides how this story lives or dies. Stay silent and people assume he's letting it slide. Speak up and he pours fuel on it. Cut ties with CP3 and the message is loud. No one is untouchable. The smart bet, LeBron handles this quietly. He's too calculated to turn this into a media war. But don't be shocked if distance starts showing. Fewer public moments, fewer joint appearances, no more banana boat vibes. Because once trust cracks at this level, fixing it is almost impossible. Zoom out though. This leak changes the entire culture. Players get tighter, conversations get shorter, inner circles shrink, casual talks about contracts. Those days might be over. The NBA was built on secrecy, quiet deals, handshakes behind closed doors. But in a world of recordings, screenshots, and leaks, that old system might not survive. So what happens next? Nobody really knows. But here's the question nobody's asking yet. What if this was never just about LeBron? What if Chris Paul was trying to shine a light on something bigger? The way these deals are really made when the cameras are off? Let's be real. The NBA didn't react like this over a small slip. They reacted because someone pulled the curtain back. And once fans see how the game is really played, there's no rewinding that. So what do you think? Did Chris Paul leak this on purpose to send a message? Or did he just get caught slipping at the worst possible time? And if you were LeBron James, would you ever trust him the same way again? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want more inside stories the media won't touch, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. We're just getting started.